Do you ever feel like no one truly hears you? Like you are screaming in a crowded room, but all you get in return is silence? Being unheard can make you feel invisible, like your thoughts, feelings, and even your existence don't matter. Let's talk about why this happens and how to finally reclaim your voice. Being heard is more than just having someone listen to your words. It's about feeling seen, understood, and valued. It's one of the most fundamental aspects of a human connection. But when we feel unheard, it can leave us isolated, disconnected, and questioning our worth. If you ever felt like your voice didn't matter, you might have found yourself retreating into the background of life, hoping to go unnoticed to avoid the pain of rejection. You stay silent, keeping your thoughts, feelings, and desires bottled up, thinking, what's the point? Nobody cares. But this silence doesn't just protect you, it isolates you further. Feeling unheard doesn't just affect how we interact with others, it deeply impacts our mental health. It can lead to low self-esteem, self-doubt, and a growing sense of irrelevance. Relationships also suffer, as the walls we build to shield ourselves from rejection prevent us from truly connecting with others. At the same time, this struggle can teach us something valuable. When we aren't heard, we often become exceptional listeners. We learn to empathize deeply, to see beyond words and actions, and to understand others in ways they may not even understand themselves. But while this capacity to give is a strength, it shouldn't come at the cost of suppressing your own voice. The truth is, the belief that you are unheard, that you don't matter, or that your voice isn't important is just that, a belief. It often stems from experiences in childhood when key figures in our lives like parents or teachers dismissed or ignored us. But those moments do not define your worth or your ability to be heard now. Welcome to Case Calm Kit. This is where I share the tools and insights that transform my journey toward emotional awareness and self-love. If you've ever felt unheard, like your voice doesn't matter, you are in the right place. In today's video, I'm going to share the 3 reasons why you feel unheard and give you practical tools to shift that dynamic and finally be heard. By the end of this video, you will not only understand why this happens, but also see how this experience can become a blessing, a powerful force that you can use to your advantage. If you are like me, you might spend your days quietly, retreating into the background, hoping to avoid disruption or disappointment. But I'm here to tell you, your voice deserves to be heard, and together we will uncover how to make that happen. Let's dive in. I don't know for you, but for me, feeling unheard has been one of the biggest challenges in my life, to the point that I became obsessed with finding my way to be heard, to accept myself, and to unapologetically speak my truth. But getting here wasn't easy. This feeling of being unheard has been with me for as long as I can remember, starting in childhood, then waving through my school days, family dynamics, relationships, and even in my career. It's as though it became a constant companion, shaping how I navigated the world. I will never forget one moment that left a deep mark on me. I was about 10 years old in school. One day, my teacher asked me to wash her cup. Then, in front of the entire class, she told me not to touch it with my dirty brown hands. I froze. I tried to explain that my hands were clean, but she cut me off, punishing me and making it clear that it wasn't about cleanliness, it was about the color of my skin. The laughter of my classmates echoed in my ears. That day, I didn't just feel unheard. I felt invisible, inappropriate, and unworthy. From then on, I began to hide, out of shame, out of fear, and out of growing belief that my voice didn't matter. This pattern repeated itself on so many areas of my life. With boys, I stayed silent, never daring to express admiration for someone I like. On the rare occasions I did, I was either ignored or betrayed. At work, I gave my best, hoping to be noticed and appreciated. But the promotions, raises, or recognition never came. I chose a career in film as a production and props designer, working behind the scenes, where I could literally remain in the background, unseen, unheard. In relationships, I stayed in toxic dynamic with a narcissistic man, believing that if I just tried harder or did more, I could finally earn his attention and be heard. Let me know if you've been through similar experiences. I would love to know how you are living these feelings. At some point, it all became too much. Between the toxic jobs and the toxic relationships, I found myself searching desperately for answers. Why do I feel invisible? How can I convey my thoughts effectively? Why don't people see or hear me? What is wrong with me? These questions eventually led me to explore concepts like emotional awareness, self-esteem, belief systems, and the power of responding instead of reacting. And if you are watching, it's probably the same for you, right? Slowly, I began to understand myself and my emotions, and I realized something profound. I wasn't broken. I was unique. So are you and all of us. Through this journey, I also discovered something powerful. Feeling unheard, while painful, held lessons I never expected. It taught me to listen deeply, empathize, and connect with others in ways that go beyond words. This is why I believe feeling unheard doesn't have to define you. Instead, it can teach you and transform you if you let it. If you've ever wondered why you feel unheard, why your voice seems to get lost in the noise, it's probably one or all these three reasons behind this feeling. Reason 1, we give too much importance to others' opinions. One of the main reasons we feel unheard is that we place too much weight on others' opinions of us. From a young age, we are conditioned to seek validation externally. Society, school, and work environments teach us that our worth depends on how others perceive us. Think about it. We are graded on scales of good and bad, right and wrong, successful and failure. These labels create a belief that being acknowledged by others defines our value. This conditioning continues through social media likes, workplace evaluations, and even in our relationships. But here is the thing, this isn't an absolute truth. It's a learned belief system, not reality. If you were to ask most people what they think of you, you would likely discover they don't care as much as you imagine. Many are preoccupied with their own struggles and insecurities. Those who judge or dismiss others often do so out of their own unresolved issues, whether jealousy, insecurity, or a lack of awareness. Meanwhile, the people who genuinely care about you are the ones who will listen, encourage, and support you. Feeling unheard doesn't mean you are not valuable or worthy. Often it's not even personal. When someone isn't hearing you, it's usually because they are too busy or preoccupied with their own lives. They have their own set of beliefs, priorities, and perspectives that do not align with yours. This doesn't make your voice any less important. It simply means they aren't in a place to listen. Understanding this subtle difference can shift the way you interpret those moments. It's not about your value or worth. It's about where others are mentally and emotionally. Once you see this, you will realize that your worth isn't tied to someone else's ability or willingness to hear you. Reason number 2, you aren't listening to yourself. Another significant reason we feel unheard is that we aren't truly listening to ourselves. We lack clarity about who we are, what we want, our values, boundaries, goals, and needs. This lack of self-awareness gets projected onto others, creating a disconnect where we feel like we are not being heard. Think of your life as a mirror. The world around you reflects your inner world. If you are feeling unheard, it's often because you are not in tune with your own thoughts and needs. When you are not clear on what you need, it's difficult for others to understand or hear you. It's like trying to communicate with someone who speaks a different language. They simply can't comprehend your message. When you take the time to listen to yourself, acknowledge your inner voice, and become clear on your desires, values, and goals, you gain the confidence to communicate those needs to others. And when you do this, you will begin to feel heard by the most important person, yourself. The third reason we feel unheard is that we are talking to the wrong audience, people who don't share our values, perspective, or goals. When we are communicating with people who do not align with us, it's easy to feel like we are not being heard. Take relationships, for example. Imagine you want a healthy, serious partnership built on transparency, respect, and consistency. But you keep meeting people who want something casual, people who ghost you or make false promises. No matter how much you talk, they just don't hear you. because their needs and intentions don't match yours. If you don't know exactly what you want and haven't communicated it clearly, you end up chasing the wrong people. You stay in situations that do not align with your values and feel frustrated when they don't listen to you. The frustration builds as you continue to try to make them hear you, even though they are simply not a match. The shift happens when you stop trying to be heard by the wrong people. Once you become clear about what you want and communicate it, those who aren't aligned with you will naturally fall away. You wouldn't have to beg for attention or approval anymore. Your boundaries will be respected by those who share your values. So when you stop speaking to people who aren't on the same wavelength, the right people will begin to show up. People who respect your boundaries and align with your goals. The wrong ones will naturally fade away. I want to share with you a new perspective I discovered, but it all started with a very tough question I had to answer honestly. Why do I need to speak to people who don't care? Why do I keep chasing the wrong audience, even when it feels like no one is listening? For me, the answer was clear. I wanted to justify myself. I craved validation and saw my value through others' eyes. I wanted to be respected and valued by them. It was like I needed to be part of their world. Do you recognize that in yourself? Then another answer surfaced. I cared about them. I saw that they weren't doing well, and I wanted to help. I wanted to correct their ways, guide them, and show them the right path. Does that resonate with you? In one case, I was trying to please others to fit in, seeking their approval. In the other, I was trying to change them to fit my perspective. I wasn't being fully myself, and I wasn't allowing others to be themselves either. No wonder no one was hearing me. I was the first to ignore my own voice. It was a tough but important realization. Now that we've uncovered the main reasons we feel unheard, it's time to change that and become heard. We are going to start with 3 tools that help you feel heard personally, and then we will move to 6 steps to feel heard by your listener. Number 1, know yourself. If you don't hear yourself, no one else will. And even if they do, they wouldn't fully grasp your message because it wouldn't be clear. So start creating a habit of sitting quietly with yourself to listen. Ask, who am I? Who do I want to be? What are my hobbies, values, intentions, and goals? Personally, I've learned to do this each time I face a decision, change, or challenge. I take time to tune into myself. What is triggered? What is missing? What is available? And how I feel. Journaling has been my go-to tools. It feels like I'm giving my voice a space to be heard. I write to validate my feelings, analyze circumstances, and observe what's happening within me. Then, I choose how to respond in a way that serves me and those around me. 2. Speak with intention. Whenever you are about to express yourself, set clear intentions for the interaction. Ask yourself, what do I need to say? Why do I need to say it? What's in it for me and the person listening? Why should they listen? This practice has helped me use my voice with purpose. If I want to be heard, I need to be clear, selective, and goal-oriented. Speaking intentionally is a form of respect. Respect for myself, the other person, and the context. For me, if what I have to say doesn't add value to the other person, I hold back. Remember, speaking to be heard means having something meaningful to share. 3. Stop taking it personally. When someone doesn't listen to you, please understand, it's not about you. Everyone is on their own personal journey, dealing with their own perspective, experiences, and struggles. It is not that you are not being heard, it's that they are not ready for what you have to say. So don't tie your self-worth to others' reactions. Your voice matters, whether it's heard or not, because you are your own first and most important listener. These 3 tools have been immensely supportive in my journey, from feeling unheard to finding my voice. Now let's move to the outward level, ensuring your message is understood by your listener. Here is a 6-step strategy to consider when you are about to express yourself. 1. Choose the right moment. Timing is everything. Find an appropriate moment for important conversations, a time when both you and the other person are relaxed, available, and ready to speak and listen. 2. Be clear and intentional. When it's time to speak, make your message clear. Set your intentions. What do you want to convey? What is the purpose of the conversation? For example, if you want support solving a problem, explain the problem and focus on the solution or benefits for both you and the other person. Number 3, set expectations. Communicate your expectations clearly. If you just want to be heard, say so. If you are looking for advice, solutions, feedback, or support, let them know. Number 4, confirm understanding. During the exchange, ensure your message is being received as intended. Ask the person to repeat what they heard, how they interpreted it, or how they understood your message. This will help you confirm whether your words were truly understood. If they got it right, great, move on. If not, reformulate your thoughts, ask clarifying questions, and continue the conversation until your message is clear. 5. Be patient and be present. Effective communication requires patience. Listen actively, not just to respond, but to understand. Focus on the goal of the exchange, whether it's clarity, connection, or resolving an issue. If you or the other person becomes defensive, angry, or frustrated, acknowledge it and step back. This can be a sign that neither of you is ready to hear or be heard. Remember, the goal is not to argue or win, it's to connect and create mutual understanding. Number 6, treat others how you want to be treated. Always approach conversations with the intention of understanding and improving the situation. This creates a win-win outcome and fosters meaningful, respectful communication. Feeling heard begins with hearing yourself first. By practicing self-awareness, speaking with intention, and not taking things personally, you will strengthen your inner voice. And by communicating clearly, setting expectations, and practicing patience, you will ensure that others truly hear you. Remember, the goal is not perfection, it's progress. Start small, stay consistent, and watch as your voice transforms not only your relationships, but your sense of self-worth as well. Feeling unheard often stems from giving too much weight to others' opinions. That is why it's crucial to stop comparing ourselves or letting others define our worth. So to dive deeper into this topic, I recommend watching my video, Find True Happiness. 5 steps to stop comparing yourself. It will guide you through understanding why we compare ourselves, how it impacts us, and most importantly, practical steps to break free from it. You will find the link in the description. Thank you for watching. If you found value on this video, please hit the like button and share your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications for more tools on emotional awareness. See you in the next video. Much love.